Good morning. How you guys doing today? So we're gonna start off with a quick review here. A few days ago, well, it's more than a few days, but the last month I've been watching my old TSC round bale hay feeder slowly die, and then it was starting to quickly die. And we've been price checking, looking for a good hay rack that's going to last. I want at least 3 to 5 years out of a good rack. Um, and we had the old red TSC brand, the heavy duty one, and I've used the silver ones also. Those last about a year, maybe two at the most. But the nice thing about those is you're able to unbolt them, and when you buy a new one, you're able to um, connect good piece to good piece and salvage a hay rack out of there. So I didn't have any more salvage ones that I could put together, and we were getting some prices for TSC red brand. It was about $500, and we've been eyeing one of these hay saver hay rack round bale hay feeders for a while. It's like, yeah, that'd be nice to have, but that's probably just a splurge, and probably doesn't probably isn't a good return on investment. Let's put it that way. It's nice. It's a nice to have, but I don't absolutely have to have it when I can take $500 and get something working. So we were at the point the other day. I'm like, we have to make a decision today. I want you to go send my dad to town. I want you to go lay hands on one of these round bale, these hay savers, and see how well they're made. Get a firm price on it. This one's $1,400. But I was over a barrel in two different ways. One, I needed a rack. Two, I have a limited amount of hay this year because we had like 4 30-day droughts here in central Ohio. This is all I got left in this barn. Each bay is about a month, is what I figure of hay. I know I'm going to have to cut down some of my cows in there. I've got about 4 to 5 I'm going to get out, and I think I'll have just enough. Inside around the corner there, in the old holding pen of the dairy, I've probably got another month and a half, 2 months worth of hay in there. We're going to get into some wheat bales, dry wheat bales that we saved, because we were taking off. We grew some wheat, and we got an early cutting on it. It was going to be in a hay. It was planted, interseeded into a hay field, and we baled it up just dry enough so it would store safely. Cows like it; they like it a lot, actually. But I need to save every mouthful of hay that I can possibly get, because it's going to be close this year. And so the plan is, this is going to be my winter hay rack. Got a concrete base out here, and it's a good thing it's a concrete base, because I don't think it would work in a dirt lot the way it needs to be used. If it was a dirt lot, you would definitely have problems. I don't think that works for you. Reason being, so get my nice little manure pile. As soon as I can finish getting the corn off, I'll start hauling that to the fields where we're going to plant next year's corn in. But if you look over here on the ground, I haven't scraped this. I've only had this green hay rack for 3 days. This thicker hay matted manure is where my round bale feeder used to be, and about once a week I would lift it up with the skid loader and place the ring on a clean spot, a new area. So that's this wasted hay, and it probably builds up over a period of time. That there is not all wasted hay. There's a lot of straw manure pack that I have pulled out of the extension building where those guys are right now. They're waiting to come up here and feed. So in the past, the manure pack from the waste, you always had to like shred it a little bit with the skid loader to make sure it fed through the manure spreader. So that's the old hay rack. In the bottom of the hay saver, there's a plywood sheeting that's bolted down to the inner frame. All the hay, once they work it through the maze, if they drop it, it falls in there and calves can steal it. I've got a place I can throw some ground corn in there. So the big cows are going to come in, and they're going to go right for the feed bunks over there, behind the four-wheeler. The babies, they're going to come over here, and they're going to check out the hay rack, and then go in the barn and look at my creep feeder system to snatch some extra feed. It's just the way the parts of the puzzle flow. I apologize, the sun's up, but this is the only day of the week this is going to happen. So over here, the manure texture changes. This was scraped clean a few days ago, just before the hay rack was dropped off. I've already noticed a big change in the manure texture, so that it's more sloppy, and that may be a problem later on. This is why I say this may not work on a dirt lot. If you're down in Kentucky where you're down there and where you're just trying to feed them out there in the field all season long, because you're going to have an absolute muddy mess around this thing, and I think it's going to sink into the mud and get ruined. So maybe I'm going to have some issues later on with hauling wet manure, but I can always store it on the other side of the fence. But I'm kind of thinking in the back of my head that maybe the manure nutrients shift to being more readily usable when I go to plant the corn. I said this is going to be my winter hay rack. So there's a guy up in Michigan. His name's Vesser. He's doing some things that we used to do down here in central Ohio for a long time. Different ways to feed cattle. We used to feed a lot of green chop back in the 80s and 70s and 60s and 50s. So I'm looking right now for like a trailer hay rack system that I can flail chop early hay or some of the fence lines and bring it in here and let them graze, and do that maybe every 2 days. So I don't destroy this, but it stretches out my round bale feeding. This year at the drought, the hay just wasn't growing, and it's in the back there in that field. That is a hay field, and you're just over this barrel. It's like, how am I going to feed the cows? This hay isn't growing. It's short. It's stunted from the heat and the droughts, and we just have to. We got to mow this stuff and rake it up, and it might be 10 windrows to one row we can bale, but that's the way it has to be, because 10 bales is 10 bales. So I could have, if I had a flail chopper and a pull behind hay rack, I could go out there and mowed that, flail chopped it, and then brought it up here and fed it. That is going to happen. It might not be the pretty hay rack. It may be a bale king or something like that. That's the way Grandpa used to do it. But it's cheaper to feed grass than hay bales. It's a lot less labor. I can keep my fence lines cleaned up, so you don't have encroaching woody weeds making it in, and the cows don't care. So this is raised up about 9 inches. There's some legs under there that might rust out, and I'll still have to move the hay rack around a little bit. But the plywood's going to keep the feed up here. Baby calves can come in here and pick up the last of the hay that's sitting in here. It's not too bad. And there's very, very little wasted. I'm going to guess the hay saver, the round bale hay saver, I'm going to say 5% of your bale is saved. So if you got, say that's a 500-pound bale, I think it's a little more. So if you're saving 25 pounds of hay per day, and you got to say a round bale or square bale of hay is 50 pounds. So that's one square bale every 2 days you're saving. That's not going out there on the pile, that they're eating and able to gain that extra weight. Anyway, so far I think it's a good deal. Where it doesn't work is if your cows aren't naturally polled or dehorned, they're not going to fit in through here. My big Hereford bull, he comes up here and he looks at this gap, which is about 14 inches, 16 inches, and he says, "This is a bunch of crap. I don't like it, but I'm hungry." And it's not that deep from here to here. It's that he can't reach it. It's just like, I don't want to reach it because it was easier to eat out of the TSC round bale feeder. If you got horny animals, like longhorns or just some that are cycling, you may have to cut out one of these loops if you got like longhorns. But I think you're going to lose some structural strength quite a bit. Hopefully this hay rack's going to last 5 years is what I'm hoping. And if I can stagger its use with a pull behind hay rack on wheels and then feed them off of that, I should definitely be able to get that and then go back to just grazing during the summer season. And that's the ideal part. But I think we got enough hay, especially if I get some corn stubble baled and force them to eat that. If I can get 10-20 bales, I should be safe. Don't want to feed soybean stubble because it's a natural estrogen source and it'll cause cattle to miscarry. So maybe I'll start doing this again under a different channel name, and just talking farm cattle stuff. There's some people I really enjoy watching, like Vesser. I think he's a good dude. This is a money saver versus just an investment. So you guys have a blessed day.